Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. Yes, there is cause for celebration. You'll recall that on the 25th of January 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme Order 2019, otherwise known as Executive Order 007, pursuant to which he approved the construction and rehabilitation of 19 roads and bridges spanning 794.4 kilometers across 11 states of the Federation. The scheme is a move by the federal government of Nigeria to incentivize private investment of over 205 billion naira into critical road and bridges infrastructure nationwide. The scheme is aimed at getting private sector operators to support government to bridge the infrastructural deficit in the country. In return, the federal government, through the Federal Inland Revenue Service, shall issue tax credit certificates to the companies. Participants in the scheme shall be entitled to utilize the project costs incurred in the construction or refurbishment of eligible roads as a credit against companies' income tax payable. The Federal Inland Revenue Service shall, upon approval by the committee of a participant's application, issue a road infrastructure tax credit certificate to a participant on an annual basis. The first sets of tax credit certificates were issued on October 29, 2019 to Dangote Cement PLC and the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, NLNG. In the case of Dangote Cement PLC, the tax credit certificate is in respect of the rehabilitation of Phase 2 of the Lokoja-Obajana-Kaba Lorin Road, Kogi, Kwara State, while in the case of the NLNG, it is in respect of the Boni-Bodo Road with bridges across the Opobo Channel in Rivers State. At the handing over ceremony of the tax credit certificates held at the Federal Ministry of Finance headquarters in Abuja, Dangote Cement PLC got a tax credit certificate in the sum of 9,581,085,399 naira 16 kobo for the project cost of 13,870,521,318 naira 25 kobo. In the case of the NLNG, it received a certificate of 14,300,799,336 naira 8 kobo based on an approved rehabilitation cost of 120,618,308,882 naira 49 kobo. And for the second time, tax credit certificate to the tune of 10,876,797,855 naira was presented to the NLNG, this time at Revenue House in Abuja. On hand to receive the NLNG delegation and to present the certificate was Executive Chairman FRS, Mr. Muhammad Nami.
This is a small opportunity we have to appreciate you as one of the key stakeholders in what we do at FRS, particularly one of the most valuable customers that we have in terms of tax payment. Because each time you make tax payment, we always have cause to celebrate, and we also always have the Nigerian government also at all the three tiers also have a cause to smile. On behalf of the board, management and staff of FRS, we present to you this certificate of road infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit portion to Executive Order 007/1 of 2019 on road infrastructure development, refurbishment, tax credit scheme.
Representative of NLNG, Mr. Bayo Adenrele, commended the federal government in general and the FRS in particular for the timely issuance of the certificate.
Thank you, sir, Executive Chairman and the members of the Executive Committee. On behalf of my executive management, our MD, Mr. Tony Atta, and our Deputy Director, Madam Sadiq Maibonu, we express our thanks to the whole FRS team for the timely issuance within less than 14 days, which are stipulated in the executive order. So this is wonderful, and it also would be able to showcase this with our shareholders as part of our commitment, saying that things are working, and we appreciate you, sir, and thank you very much.
Things are indeed looking up. The government is delivering on its promises and mandates. We note with pleasure that under the same scheme, the Dangote Group is involved in the rehabilitation of the Apapa-Oshodi Highway in Lagos. Now to some tax education. Welcome to our law clinic. Today, we continue our feature on value-added tax. Let us remind you that in the first installment, we emphasize that it is the consumer, the final consumer, that pays VAT, be it the individual that purchases goods in the store or a governmental organization or corporate body that purchases goods or services from a vendor. Let us also re-emphasize that monthly filing of VAT returns is compulsory whether VAT has been collected by the vendor or not. Failure to file returns to the FRS attracts a fine of 50,000 naira in the month of default and 25,000 naira for every month in which the default persists. Of course, it follows that when VAT has been collected, it must be remitted to the Federal Inland Revenue Service on or before the 21st day of the month following collection. Today, we want to talk about who should charge or collect value-added tax. The Finance Act 2019 has brought significant changes to VAT administration in Nigeria. For example, companies with turnover below 25 million naira per annum have been exempted from charging VAT. Section 8, subsection 1 of the Finance Act 2019 states that a taxable person shall, upon commencement of business, register with the FRS for the purpose of tax. A taxable person who fails or refuses to register with the service within the terms specified in the subsection 1 is liable to pay as penalty an amount of 50,000 naira in the month in which the failure occurs and 25,000 naira for each subsequent month in which the failure continues. Section 15, subsection 1 states that a taxable person who, in the course of a business, has made taxable supplies or expects to make supplies, the value of which either singularly or cumulatively in any calendar year is 25 million naira or more, shall render to the service on or before the 21st day of every month in which this threshold is achieved, and on or before the same day in successive months thereafter, a return of the input tax paid and output tax collected by him in the preceding month in such a manner as the service may prescribe. Still talking about the Finance Act in relation to value-added tax, the penalty for failing to remit in any particular month is now a sum equal to 10% of the tax not remitted, in addition to the principal sum as well as interest at the prevailing CBN minimum discount rate. According to Section 28, a taxable person who fails to notify the service of any change of address within 30 days of such change or fails to comply with the requirement of notification of permanent cessation of trade or business under Section 8 is liable to pay 50,000 naira for the first month in which the failure occurs and 25,000 naira for each subsequent month in which the failure continues. So, do you fall into the category of a VAT collector? If so, how do you file monthly returns? How do you pay? Mr. Abdulkarim Yusuf is an assistant director at the FRS. He is the deputy to the VAT coordinator, Lagos Mainland East of the FRS. How does one file VAT returns?
First of all, before you file, you are expected to register with the Federal Inland Revenue Service using Form 001. Having registered and you become a supplier of goods or services and you charge VAT, which of course you know the rate have increased from 5 to 7.5%. You charge your VAT, and at the end of every month, as expected, you do your tabulation, and by the 21st of every month, you are expected to file to FRS the VAT collected in the previous month. And to do that, the FRS has introduced right from the beginning VAT Form 002, which of course this is highly compact and detailed. You fill in all your transactions, your turnover from all sources, and then you put in all your inputs and then apply the 7.5%, and then you do the deduction. Where the output VAT outweighs the input VAT, you remit the excess to the government through the designated banks.
Is the filing open to everyone?
Filing is open to those, to taxpayers who have charged VAT on their supply of goods and services. And of course, you know, if you do not file, you'll be running foul of the law.
Unlike other taxes which are directly paid by the taxpayer, VAT is paid by the consumer through the vendor or service provider. So, how does a VAT agent remit VAT collected on behalf of government?
There are several ways a taxpayer can make a payment. Most of the banks, you pay through the banks, of course. Most of the banks have on their platform the necessary information you input, and then just remit your VAT. The bank will debit the taxpayer's account and credit FRS account from the comfort of his office on his system. That's the way we purchase our airline tickets. Or the taxpayer may go straight to the bank across the counter and make the necessary payment. And the moment the payment is made and it hits the FRS account, the system will generate a receipt for that particular payment. It will automatically generate that, and then you can come to the FRS and collect your receipt.
So it's either you make payment online or you walk into the bank to make payment.
Yes.
Do you provide goods and services? Then you must answer these important questions. Are you registered for VAT? Do you charge VAT on the goods and services you provide? Do you keep records of all your transactions? Do you file VAT returns? Do you remit VAT collected to government coffers? If your answer to any of these questions is no, then you are breaking the law. The law demands total compliance. Therefore, you must register for VAT. You must charge VAT on goods and services. You must file VAT returns. And you must remit all VAT collected on behalf of government within 21 days to the bank nearest to you. To do otherwise is a crime punishable everywhere in the world. VAT is prescribed by the law. Do the right thing. Collect and pay VAT. This message is from the FIRS. It pays to pay your tax.
Welcome once again as we return to Revenue House, where a high-powered delegation of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, came visiting. Again on hand to receive the delegation was Executive Chairman FRS, Chairman Joint Task Board, Mr. Muhammad Nami, supported by top management staff. The ICAN delegation was led by the President, Dame Onome Adewoye, ably supported by past President Nnamdi Okwadibu, the Registrar of the Institute, and council members.
Considering the current developments occasioned by the dreaded coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, we resolved at the Institute to deepen our engagement with key stakeholders in a bid to discuss how, as a country, we can emerge stronger and more agile post-COVID-19. Similarly, as a concerned agency of government, the FRS issued diverse palliatives to taxpayers in a conscious effort to safeguard businesses and other economic activities. This includes tax deferrals by payers without incurring interest or penalties.
In response, the Executive Chairman FRS seized the opportunity to inform his guests of the activities of the service in recent time.
Before now, try to struggle to see what we do to check issues that has to do with leakages in the tax system. And as a result of that, we currently are reviewing our tax laws and making some presentations to National Assembly. One of the key challenges we have is people acting as agents of collecting indirect taxes, which has been our emphasis since we came on board. And when they collect those taxes, they keep them to themselves in addition to the revenue that they have generated. One of such tax is value-added tax. What we want the National Assembly to do for us is making it possible for us to be able to take our value-added tax from our tax agent as transactions occur, as against the current practice where you collect VAT at the beginning of the month, probably like we have today, and you wait until 21st of the following month before you remit. We're afraid in the course of trying to wait for the due date, some people venture into investing those money, and when they run into problem, government pays dearly for it. So we feel that provision, if it can be amended, it will help us enormously, and because we'll be able to generate more of such revenue for federal government and the other two tiers of government.
That as chairman of the District Society
of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, I will discharge my duties to the best of my...
There is a new dawn at the Lagos and District Society of the CITN. A new chairman in the person of Dr. Adeyemi Sone has taken over the mantle of leadership. On Saturday, the 31st of October 2020, Pastor Adebayo Adeyeye, who had been in the saddle for the past 24 months, handed over the baton to Dr. Adeyemi Sone at a ceremony that qualifies in every respect as an A-list event. In attendance was the founding president of the CITN, Chief David Ajibola Olorunleke, the 14th and current president of the CITN, Dame Olajumoke Simplice, supported by the Vice President and Deputy Vice President of the CITN, the Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, past Chairman of the District, the spouse of the 17th Chairman of the District, Mrs. Adedoyin Sone, and a retinue of special guests, including Barrister Adeyemi Ajibade, Chairman of the occasion, and Mr. George Sakalis, special guest of honor. Guest speaker at the investiture was Professor Ishola Akintoye of Babcock University. The Doyen of Taxation, Chief David Olorunleke, who was the grandfather of the day, had these words to say on the quality and character of Dr. Sonny.
I didn't know him before. I knew him just through my daughter, who is here with you. And I had one occasion to talk to him. And that particular occasion, it was as if I have known him for 10 years. We talked everything about taxation, and he actually brought me back to my early days in taxation, as if I was just learning taxation once again. But I found him almost with the passion he had, the drive he has shown to me. I felt that Lagos and district society must be lucky to have this chairman. And the CITN also must be very lucky to have such a person in our institute.
And then, the high point, the investiture of Dr. Adeyemi Sonny as the 17th chairman of the Lagos and District Society of the CITN. The investiture was officiated by the President, Chairman in Council of the CITN, Dame Olajumoke Simplis, and performed by the immediate past district chairman, Pastor Adeyeye, assisted by the Deputy Vice President of the CITN, Barrister Samuel Agbeluyi.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, that as the chairman of the District Society of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, I will discharge my duties
Going. Please put your hands together for the newest chairman, the 17th chairman of Lagos and District Society of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, in person of Dr. Adeyemi Sonny SCTA. Congratulations.
The 17th chairman of the district, Dr. Sonny, performed his first official duty by swearing in his executive committee members. Certificates and insignia of office were also presented to past chairman of the district. Dr. Sonny used the occasion to unveil the blueprint of his administration. Later in a chat with Tax Matters, the chairman further elaborated on the game plan for his tenure.
There are quite a number of things that I immediately have in my head to work with my EXCO members to achieve within the 24-month tenure that we're going to be in the office. One of it is capacity building for members. Like we know that this profession is a dynamic one, and for you to remain relevant, you need to be conversant with the relevant provisions of the tax laws, and you need to keep up to date with things that are happening and as regards taxation in Nigeria and even outside the country. And a whole lot of them, a lot of people, we know that in Nigeria people don't imbibe the culture of reading. So we are going to put together programs, during, like on a monthly basis for our members to brushing them up, to enhance their knowledge in taxation. Also, we know that we're in the era of ICT, information communication technology. So I hope to deploy that to do a whole lot of operations that the district embarks on.
We wish the 17th chairman of the Lagos and District Society of the CITN the very best during his tenure. They call it the District of Excellence, and we expect excellence performance as we enjoin you viewers to go out there and perform excellently this week and beyond. Thank you for watching.